I don't. I honestly don't know what went wrong. I mean, you could rest assured that if I knew what I did, I would correct it. But what I think happened is I think we might have lost our internet connection for a minute. It's funny. We've got plenty of power. Uh, I just think somehow or other we got dropped. But anyway, we are back with you, and it is what 1:27 p.m. We're closing on 1:30. Can you believe this? On a beautiful Wednesday, May 6th, 2026. Live and in color from Newport Harbor, California. And say, hoping everybody has a good Wednesday going on, and hope you enjoyed Cinco de Mayo with maybe some authentic Mexican food, and who knows, maybe a margarita, maybe a Modelo, maybe a shot of tequila, maybe a Pacifico, maybe a Corona, maybe a Pacifico. Oh, can't forget the Modelo Especial. So anyway, I hope you guys actually managed to enjoy Cinco de Mayo. Anniversaries of independence for countries are major milestones. I mean, we don't obviously date back to Europe or any of that stuff, but we were the only country founded to accept immigrants. I mean, America is going to be a haven for the unpopular. And you know why the majority doesn't need to get any more attention? It's because they're in the majority already. And human nature is such that if any people haven't learned to work together, then at some point you can expect conflict or just contrary opinions. Then these contrary opinions are usually resolved by force, which is probably the single worst way to do that, but that's how it is. And since we are closing in on 1:30 on Wednesday the 6th, I want to tell everybody that I appreciate everybody watching and tuning in. And if you have any funny stories, let us know. We'll be happy to repeat them on the air for you. Uh, uh, it just so happens that I have some time in the Sail Lab this afternoon at 4. And it's funny, I usually wrap up here around 2 just because my voice gets kind of sore after I talk for 2 hours, especially when I do it daily. I try to be a pretty quiet guy. There's no way I would talk for 2 hours absent some like compelling need. And can you see that boat? And just kind of sail by. Who is that? Uh, Nothing to write home about. Uh, God, isn't that kind of snobbish? Like, what kind of boat is that? I don't know. Nothing to write home about. Um, when you're young, you get to grow up around boats. There's always a little priority about boats you would rather sail on and people you would rather sail with, and boats you would rather not sail on, and people you would rather not sail with. And as long as you know that, don't go in expecting everything to be hunky dory. But you know, go. Don't tell me Jaws. I don't want to hear anything like that. Uh, and I'm having to explain why the Jaws thing doesn't apply. But sometimes people can be a little sensitive about their fears and their likes and their dislikes. So we try not to get super duper involved like that. But what I want to know is, has anybody got a good lunch or dinner suggestion? I'm kind of, I always need like the new cheap restaurant selections, and I was so bad the other day. I usually don't eat ice cream at all, and I had like a whole pint to myself, and it was Thrifty brand, like from the Thrifty drugstores, and you don't hear that word very often, do you? Thrifty. Uh, just one of those things that kind of makes me laugh. Not unlike every time the president mentions ballroom, I just think he needs a pair of clown size underwear. I often wonder how long it would take him to make the connection between the extraordinarily large men's underwear and the ballroom. It seems pretty obvious to me, but I am the biggest fan. We can't have too much of that now, can we? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, this is starting all over the time clock. This is why this is called part two of today's episode. As good as everything is technologically, we're still at the mercy of a switch or God knows what, a gust of wind. And I got this. The breeze is pretty light, like maybe 10 knots, and it is just like perfect day to go sailing. So if anybody wants to go sailing, give me a call, 949-629-3820. And if you're afraid of Jaws, give me a call and let me try to talk you out of it. And you see, the way I usually talk people out of being afraid of Jaws or anything is first of all, I got to get them on the boat. It has to be in the harbor to appreciate this. So I tell him, says, you really don't have to worry about Jaws. So I said, this is Newport Harbor. It might be 10 feet deep. It's not Jaws. It's not like open ocean or near the beach or anything. So I just about get her relaxed. And at this point, I say, what you really got to watch out for is when the whales breach the surface and they toss the boat 20, 30, 40 feet in the air. Whether you come down in the boat or, out of the boat, it's an entirely different question. And I see this look of like sheer horror and panic on her face. And of course, as soon as I see that, I start laughing. And, then I realize that I'm about in mortal danger if I keep laughing at her. So, of course, I calm it down and all that. And then what do? So, of course, we wait a few minutes and, sip on my adult beverage a little bit. And then how you just trail your hand in the water, just kind of let it drag along. Well, of course, I would do that. But, of course, after about, I don't know, 5, 8 minutes, I would snatch my hand out of the water and jump to my feet and go, God damn it, it bit me, it bit me. And so I did that. And for the second time, I thought this was extraordinarily funny. And it didn't come out that way. I can't imagine why. So, yeah, that's how I usually handle the Jaws problems. Jaws, schmalls, that ain't a problem. And talking about ballroom, I'm still lucky I have mine attached. Yeah, that was a little hard to finesse there. Would you believe that I got a new handy dandy power bank, and it will let me go for hours and barely make a dent in the power usage? And it almost doesn't matter, but I've got the little time in the sound lab today, so it's a little it's kind of nice to know. Yeah, from here we'll pack it up and head on to the Yale Sound Lab and let old Ab rock and roll for a few minutes. And I do this. You guys remember that song from the other day, "Roll Those Republicans"? Well, maybe we'll try to record a decent version. I don't. I make no promises, but we'll see what we can do. And why don't you see what you can do about give us a call at 949-629-3820. And when you see that PayPal donate button, you know what to do. Smash the living daylights out of it and send a little something so Ab can get his car fixed. Anyway, meanwhile, back at the ranch, the coffee and the hits keep coming. I've got to try this at Fashion Island one day. I'm just curious where I would have to set up for the old for the scenery to be most attractive. I guess it would have to be Starbucks just because they have an outdoor table and people. I would hate to get relieved of my equipment by by one of the homeless people at Fashion Island. And this is just one of the most expensive things in the world. And I guess coffee is coffee. So, and for whatever it's $3, you get a small one. Just keep getting refills and refills and refills. Um, and ultimately, you have to feel sorry for people that do that. You know, I would appreciate having places to go and all that, but for the time being, we get this out for you guys. We want to elect Democrats up and down. If you're a Democrat running for office, give us a call. We're happy to give you a little platform and hear the what and the why behind you running. I personally, I always get curious as to why people do things, their motivation. And for instance, Dr. Kelly Brown, she's had members of her family serve every generation since 1860. Okay, that would be the war between the states, the Civil War, the War of Northern Aggression, whatever you want to call it. Her family was there, and I think that while in America we are all kind of equal, people bring certain unique qualities to the game, and I do think those qualities need to be recognized and not suppressed because that's the only way you can get a truly superior candidate is usually one with superior drive and superior skills, and that's about all you need. I mean, all you have to have really is a drive to succeed. And let's see, going back to the old Katie Porter, I mean, I guarantee you that her staff would work overtime to keep up with her. And if she had to get a new staff, it wouldn't bother anybody because everybody knew what they had going in. Uh, but if you're inclined to give her a look, let me know. I'll be curious if anybody agrees with me. There's I think in another debate coming up tonight, and somebody said Vigorosa had a good night and all that, but I just, you Katie is just abrupt enough to knock heads. When she would do it, she wouldn't bother with the niceties. She would just do it with the notion of this is the most expeditious way to get the best job done. And I think that's a good thing for public servants, civil servants, whatever you call them. And government as an employer is nothing to be is economic policy also. I mean, it's always better to have people on the payroll, even if we're paying them. Even and that's kind of why they have these social security benefits. Let us give you enough money to live on. You know, and I don't think anybody's going to Monte Carlo on $1,000 a month. As much as the Republicans want to scream waste, fraud, and abuse, they're the ones doing the wasting, the frauding, and the abusing. And it's not like I'm making this stuff up. It's in the paper. It's on TV every day. Uh, people usually only need two things to act. They usually need something to run away from and something or someplace to run to. And we clearly have the someplace to run from. And I would have sworn that any place would have been the place to run to. But Democrats aren't being treated particularly kindly in the polls. And I kind of think that's undeserved. I think that anybody that's running that's not a Republican, you have to give a nod to. I mean, don't you have to think hard when people don't acknowledge who won the 2020 election? I mean, if they're unwilling to say that, and that's not much of a stance. That's like the Earth is round, right? And so not much is being asked of you. And if you can't do that, then I think you're automatically disqualified for the job. And I'm not alone. If you don't want to do the job, don't do it. Just it's that Nike thing, just say no or just do it or whatever it is those guys do. Uh, but we are let's see, getting ready to have our primary on June 2nd. So things should be getting into high gear maybe next week or so. No, certainly no later than next Friday. And we've invited a few candidates to come on with us. One of them, Jason Boyers from Indio Cathedral City. I forgot what district he's in. I want to say 47 because Ada is 67. And he's got an interesting story. And of course, I can't spill the beans on it. Uh, but you'll be treated to hear just a plain, well-spoken small businessman candidate. And I don't know if anybody knows this, or I doubt anybody even remember this. But if I'm not mistaken, there was a series of movies years ago, and I think it was like Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. And it's about how an ordinary citizen gets elected to Congress and gets corrupted and all that stuff. But at time, this movie, if you get a chance, if you're a movie fan, Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is highly informative. But then again, Caddyshack is relatively informative as to Trump's behavior. And by the way, does anyone doubt Rodney, may he rest in peace, that Rodney would have out-Trumped Trump at every turn? I mean, Trump thinks Trump hadn't seen outrageous when he's seen Rodney be outrageous. Oh, and I wonder if AI can do that. If AI can make uh, Rodney like come alive and just cut Trump to shreds. We'll have to find some AI thing that will generate a little video about that. Yeah, I mean, I can see those two kind of fading in and out just as much as I can see like the image of Trump transforming into the image of Jesus. I mean, what in the world is unnatural about that? Trump is the baby Jesus. Uh, yeah, the baby Jesus knows forgive, and the Trump kid just knows to beat him up and take what he wants. Tell him to take your lunch money. See, I'm convinced Katie Porter would beat me up and take my lunch money. I'm not so sure about anybody else up there. So I would automatically defer to Katie Porter. And I would love to know if people are objecting to her because of her tone or because of her policies. Because if you're objecting to her because of her tone, then that's an ad hominem or against the person attack and not an attack on the merits, on the policies. And, it always tells you where people come from. They usually launch ad hominem attacks against the person when their specific attacks against policies don't work. So then they go to sliming the whole person. Isn't it amazing we have anybody willing to run for politics? I will say this: looking forward to 2020 to the midterms and beyond. I do think people are motivated. I think people finally get it. And you know what I think? I don't think the people finally got it. I think that Trump inflicted enough pain that they got it. I think you had enough people whose insurance premiums went through the roof. I think you've seen enough people who, if they can afford it, they can't get it. No health premiums. Uh, these people that were formerly MAGA friendly aren't that MAGA friendly anymore. We extend our hand to you. Please join us. We do have a better way. We're not perfect, but we don't swindle you. We don't ask you for $1 billion after we've already told you it's going to be half that, and it's privately funded. I mean, we don't. And I say, if I could go back to any one thing that describes Trump. Oh, I loved it telling the story as the Stormy Daniels trial. And Stormy, I think God bless her, she's salt of the earth, hard working, drinking, smoking woman. And so, anyways, it's the Stormy Daniels trial, and Stormy's on the stand, and the lawyer's asking Stormy, "What color is Trump's underwear?" So she tells him, and next question, I'm like, "Did you notice his penis?" And of course, she answers yes. So the question is, did it have any unique characteristics? So then she says yes, and sort of she's playing some hook to the left or something. And this one, I'm like rolling. I think this is really funny. And then the lawyer says, "Well, how was his performance in band?" And so, left a lot to be desired, right? Okay, so that's what Trump is being accused of. That he had, she was with him. He was wearing this underwear. His penis was distinct enough and had this kind of mark to it, and he was not very good at the sack. I mean, that's not exactly impeachable, but you know what I mean. So then, how does Trump answer these allegations? Or does he say, "No, I had on red underwear instead of blue underwear"? Does he say, uh, "I didn't do it"? Or what's he say? And when Trump's sworn sworn to God on a Bible, and I don't mean the 6995 or 5995 Trump Bible, I mean they swore like a real Bible about this, to like tell the truth. So what does Trump say? He has sworn to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth, and he's just been accused of sexually assaulting a woman. And at the time, he was wearing this underwear, and his penis had this shape, and oh, he was lousy. So this kills me. I love doing this. And so Trump gets up and says, more or less, "I never saw that woman before in my life." And you're like, wait a minute. She's describing your underwear, your penis, and your performance in band, and you never saw it before in your life. And he'll go, "That's right." So, of course, after all, you saw the witness stand. But I see moments like that are really moments of clarity, and they show you exactly what the person is, and why or how anybody would reward that behavior. I just can't imagine. Yeah, I wish I could stay a little longer, but my voice starts to go after about 2 hours of solo talking, which means I would probably make a good college professor. But uh, you know, meanwhile, back at the ranch. So, we're coming up on the final 10 minutes here of the Abby Kaufman show here at democracyradionetwork.com. And I want to let people know that as a largely political site, we're working have uh, to have units on the ground in maybe 12 different regions of California. And with each region having a 2-hour show, democracyradionetwork.com will be able to live stream 24/7. And while we are looking to go on from there, it's my hope that we get to work with community colleges and not the big guys, the UCCs. And I mean, I don't think those guys, they might need help, but they don't need help like the community college guys need help. Uh, and let's face it, a degree with UCLA, UCI, Berkeley, whatever it is worth infinitely more than a degree from OCC. And by the way, I've taken courses at OCC. I think OCC is a very positive, very valid thing. And I think the only thing I would want more was that if it's not tuition free already, to please make it tuition free. We need to start nurturing minds instead of just cutting research and sending scientists off to fend for themselves. And by the way, what about those 10 nuclear scientists that disappeared in New Mexico? There's something really bad going on with that. Trust me, this is, you don't lose 10 people like that just so. This is a clear operation by whom we may speculate, but I don't know. Uh, but trust me, when a country loses 10 nuclear scientists that are working on a similar program based upon a new energy source, somebody that poses a threat to somebody. And I guarantee you, it either poses a threat or it gives someone access to knowledge that wasn't previously available. So not only do they develop this technology, but now they're being kidnapped, or or they are disappearing. How about that? And you would have to assume that after the 10th one, that they are all related, and they may or may not all be similar, but it definitely pays to look for similarities. I don't know, without without the person, where's the DNA? I don't know. Well, it just hadn't been narrowed down enough. I mean, we really need that. And wouldn't it be nice if Savannah Guthrie had some closure, some final peace of mind? Uh, the truth of the matter is, I cannot. I mean, I've got some thought what might be going through her mind. I mean, I took care of my grandmother until she died, and I can just imagine the horror I would feel at learning somebody, came to our house and stole her, which obviously, or you would have to assume led to her death. Uh, just somebody's sweet mother, somebody else's grandmother, can happen to anybody. I'm sure Savannah Guthrie's, wealth had a factor in it. Um, 5 mil still nothing to sneeze at. I say that like it's kind of obvious, but it's funny out here in Newport. You could be worth $10 to $20 million and be another guy standing in line at the grocery store to check out. Someplace else, $5 million makes you God. So it's always a matter of perspective, and we would always love to hear your perspective. Give us a call 949-629-3820 and share what's going on in your Democratic, liberal, or progressive mind, preferably all three. We do want to move things forward. Uh, we do want to see the Trump administration. We don't want to just see them in the rearview mirror. We want to see them in the rearview mirror as we're driving away from prison. That's don't you think that'd be just about appropriate? It just, I mean, the $500 million ballroom that he's already got money for. Oh yeah, we're just gonna keep that and bill it to the public. It's just it's beyond laughable to the downright pathetic. And I say, hopefully we'll stay united. Democrats hadn't looked this good in a long time. God knows we have an abundance of riches in the candidate department. On the federal level, I just think, how about people like Buttigieg, Gavin Newsom? I mean, from there, I don't really, I don't really care. I just want Democrats elected and Republicans. And I don't want every Republican in jail. I just want the ones that are guilty to go to jail. And I think that's a perfectly reasonable patriotic decision. Societies like games without rules, they can't exist. And when you violate the rules of society, the degree of disruption that brings about may vary, but you have brought about some disruption by breaking the rules of society. And usually there will be some form of punishment. I don't think, and by punishment we don't necessarily mean beating and whipping, but it might be a fine or incarceration. Oh, and by incarceration, that's a big word for jail. And that's another thing. After a while, after you steal enough money, it ain't even stealing. They call it embezzlement. Okay. I mean, and there's just too much money involved to really be stealing. Yeah, you had been even more crooked. Just one of those legal observations I thought I'd share with you. And the reason I thought I'd share it with you is it's coming up on 157, 158, and we're here for another few minutes here at the Democracy Radio Network.com. I am your somewhat savvy political host, Abby Kaufman, and we are, of course, broadcasting this time outdoors at our secret location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California. Uh, let's see, any words of wisdom for you guys? If I have words of wisdom, you might want to recheck them just to make sure I got the translation right. Every now and then things do come across a little distorted, but that's the way it is, live and in color from the undisclosed location on Newport Harbor in Newport Beach, California. I am, I am. Did I say that? I am your somewhat semi-savvy, politically minded host, Abby Kaufman, and we want to wish everybody a decent Wednesday, and let's get this first half of the week over with. And guys, we always appreciate when you hang with us. And what do they always say? Roger.